It was a quiet, sunlit afternoon in our suburban neighborhood, the kind where everything feels safe and predictable. Birds chirped from the trees lining the streets, neighbors tended their gardens, and children played joyfully in the yards. My daughter Emily sat at the kitchen table, quietly focused on her coloring book. She was 8 years old, with a bright smile and a gentle spirit, but she lived with a disability that made her reliant on a wheelchair for mobility. Despite this, she was independent in her own ways, tackling puzzles, drawing intricate designs, and laughing at the little jokes I made. In our home, afternoons were calm and predictable, a safe cocoon that protected her from the harshness of the world. That sense of safety shattered in an instant. I was checking the mail when I noticed HOA Karen standing near the end of the driveway, a figure both familiar and menacing. Karen had a reputation in the neighborhood for being controlling, aggressive, and vindictive. She enforced rules with an iron fist, often going far beyond her authority. Most residents avoided her confrontations, but I had always assumed she wouldn't cross a line as dangerous as this. I was wrong. Emily, noticing Karen's presence, waved shyly. Karen's eyes narrowed, locking on my daughter with an intensity that sent a chill down my spine. I instinctively called Emily back, but before I could reach her, Karen moved with surprising speed. She approached Emily, her hand outstretched, and grabbed my daughter's arm. My heart leaped into my throat. Emily's small frame struggled against Karen's grip, her wheelchair tilting dangerously as she tried to pull away. I yelled, rushing forward, but Karen anticipated my reaction. With shocking strength, she dragged Emily down the driveway and toward the street. I ran faster, my legs pounding against the pavement, adrenaline coursing through me. Emily's frightened cries pierced the air. I could see the confusion and fear in her wide eyes, a mirror of my own terror. I shouted at Karen to stop, but she ignored me, moving with a frightening sense of purpose. Neighbors began to emerge from their homes, drawn by the commotion. Some tried to intervene, but Karen's aggression and unpredictability made them hesitate. My mind raced, trying to calculate the safest way to protect Emily without causing her harm. Every second felt like an eternity, and every heartbeat thundered in my chest. I could see the determination on Karen's face, the cold focus that ignored Emily's fear. Then came the moment that transformed fear into action. Karen turned a corner with Emily, attempting to disappear into the maze of sidewalks and yards that lined our neighborhood. My instinct screamed I could not allow her to take my daughter, no matter the risk. I pushed my body faster than I thought possible, determined to reach Emily before Karen could vanish. The chase had begun, and nothing would stop me from reclaiming my child from this nightmare. The neighborhood I had once considered a safe haven suddenly became a maze of danger. Karen moved with unexpected agility, dragging Emily's wheelchair along uneven sidewalks and yards. Her grip on my daughter was ironclad, her eyes cold and unyielding. Emily tried to cry out for help, but Karen's hand covered her mouth. Every muffled whimper twisted my heart, fueling a desperate surge of adrenaline. I sprinted behind them, my breath ragged, my muscles burning, scanning every driveway and alley for a way to reach them. Neighbors had started to notice the chaos. A few brave souls attempted to intervene, stepping into the streets, calling out to Karen, but her intimidating presence kept most at bay. My mind raced as I weighed options. I needed to act fast, but carefully. I couldn't risk Emily falling or being hurt further. Her disability made her vulnerable, and Karen seemed fully aware of that. Each second was critical. Karen darted through a narrow passage between two houses, the wheelchair scraping against walls and garden fences. Sparks flew briefly, and my stomach lurched. I yelled Emily's name, hoping the sound of my voice would calm her and give her courage. She reached out toward me, her small hands trembling, desperate for the safety of my embrace. Karen turned, glancing back at me with a sneer that sent a shiver down my spine. But I refused to stop. I had to save her. I leaped over a fence, landing hard on the grass, my arms scraping against the rough wooden boards. Karen had taken a sharp turn into a backyard I didn't know well, and for a moment, she disappeared behind a thick row of bushes. My heart raced uncontrollably. I imagined every worst-case scenario: Emily being thrown, her wheelchair toppling, or worse. Panic clawed at me, but I forced myself to focus, using the adrenaline to sharpen my senses. I listened for her cries, watched the rustling leaves, and predicted Karen's path as best I could. Then, a glimpse: Emily's wheelchair emerging from behind a hedge. Karen was hurrying, but she hadn't expected me to catch up. I surged forward, my body propelled by fear and love. I could feel the sweat stinging my eyes, my chest heaving. But nothing mattered except getting to Emily. I shouted at Karen to stop, my voice a mix of rage and desperation. Emily's eyes locked onto mine, her expression a mixture of fear and hope. That tiny spark of recognition gave me a renewed burst of energy. Karen attempted to vault over another fence, trying to escape, but I was faster this time. I tackled her to the ground just as she landed, pinning her long enough to grab Emily. The wheelchair tipped slightly, but I caught her immediately, holding her close. Relief and terror collided. She was safe in my arms. But Karen's struggle beneath me reminded me that the danger wasn't fully over. I could hear sirens faintly in the distance, signaling that help was on the way. As I clutched Emily, comforting her trembling body, I realized something profound. This wasn't just a chassit, it was a fight for survival, for love, and for the safety of the most vulnerable person in my life. Nothing else mattered in that moment, except ensuring my daughter would never again be at the mercy of Karen's cruelty. The wail of sirens grew louder as the police arrived, cutting through the tension that had gripped the neighborhood. Officers moved quickly, surrounding Karen and securing the scene. She continued to struggle and shout, claiming authority and making wild accusations, but the professionals didn't flinch. Their presence finally allowed me to breathe, though my heart still pounded in my chest. I held Emily tightly, checking her for injuries, each small bruise and scrape sending a fresh surge of panic through me. Thankfully, aside from minor scrapes and bruises from her wheelchair tipping over, she was physically unharmed. But her trembling body and wide, tear-filled eyes spoke of emotional trauma that would take far longer to heal. Neighbors approached, shaken and apologetic for not acting sooner. Some had witnessed parts of the ordeal, while others had only seen the terrifying conclusion. Statements were taken, and details about Karen's aggression were documented meticulously. The officers were thorough, asking about every moment from the initial confrontation to the chase through the yards and alleys. It was a blur in my mind, yet every detail mattered to the authorities and to the future safety of my daughter. Karen was arrested on the spot for kidnapping, assault, and endangering a child. Her HOA role and her past neighborhood influence meant nothing now. The law had caught up with her. Watching her cuffed and escorted to the patrol car, I felt a complicated wave of emotions: relief, lingering anger, and an exhaustion that weighed heavier than I'd ever known. She had underestimated me, underestimated Emily, and underestimated the force of a parent's protective instinct. Back at home, I secured the doors and windows, creating a safe haven for Emily. She clung to me, whispering fears that Karen might return, that she might not be safe again. I held her close, soothing her with gentle words, promising that she was now protected and loved beyond measure. Though physically safe, the psychological impact was evident. We arranged counseling and therapy to help Emily process the trauma, understanding that emotional healing would be as critical as physical recovery. The neighborhood, once familiar and comforting, now felt shadowed by fear. Conversations shifted from mundane matters to discussions of Karen's aggression and the risks she posed. Parents shared stories of prior confrontations, realizing that her behavior had escalated far beyond petty disputes. I implemented additional safety measures: security cameras, reinforced locks, and a network of watchful neighbors ready to act if needed. Our lives were forever altered, and vigilance became an inseparable part of daily life. Yet amidst the fear and caution, there was a renewed sense of purpose. Emily's courage in the face of danger, even as a child with disabilities, had been awe-inspiring. I realized that protecting her required both action and strategy, combining instinct with careful thinking. The ordeal reinforced the undeniable truth that parental love is not passive, it is fierce, unwavering, and capable of extraordinary feats when those we love are in danger. As Emily slept that night, exhausted but safe, I reflected on the events of the day. Karen's arrest brought justice, but it also highlighted the fragility of safety, the importance of preparedness, and the strength needed to defend the vulnerable. Though shaken, we had survived, and that survival marked not an end, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where courage, vigilance, and love would guide every step forward. And the days and weeks following the terrifying ordeal, life slowly began to regain a semblance of normalcy. Though the shadow of that day lingered over every step we took, Emily, my brave little daughter, was cautious at first, hesitant to venture outside, hesitant to trust the world as she had before. Even the familiar sidewalks felt threatening for a while. Each outing required careful preparation, reassurance, and constant attention. Yet, despite the trauma, I could see her resilience shining through. With gentle encouragement, therapy sessions, and unwavering love, Emily gradually began to reclaim her sense of safety and confidence. Our family bond, already strong, had grown stronger. The shared experience of fear, adrenaline, and survival left an indelible mark on us. Every hug, every shared laugh, and every quiet evening together reminded us of the love and connection that had carried us through the crisis. I made a conscious effort to transform fear into strength, both for Emily and for myself. We spoke openly about what had happened, acknowledging her feelings and validating her fears, while also reinforcing the knowledge that she was protected and loved beyond measure. Meanwhile, the legal process progressed. Karen's trial became a focal point, bringing the full extent of her actions to light. Witnesses recounted the abduction, the chase, and the fear she had instilled in Emily and the neighborhood. I attended every session, supporting Emily as she navigated this new, unsettling phase of recovery. Watching Karen confronted with accountability was a strange mixture of relief and lingering anger. No court ruling could erase the trauma Emily experienced, but seeing justice unfold provided a measure of closure and reassurance that our safety mattered beyond the courtroom. The experience transformed my perspective. I realized that vigilance, courage, and proactive protection are essential, especially for children who are vulnerable or disabled. Emily had shown extraordinary strength in the face of danger, and I had learned that decisive action even in moments of fear can make the difference between safety and catastrophe. Our community too was forever changed. Neighbors grew closer, sharing concerns, watching over one another, and creating a network of support that would help prevent future tragedies. Life gradually returned to routine, though with heightened awareness. Emily thrived in her daily activities, returning to her hobbies, school, and social interactions with renewed determination. Therapy helped her process the trauma, equipping her with coping strategies and a sense of empowerment. For me, every day became a balance of protection and trust, guiding her safely through the world while allowing her to grow independently. The ordeal had been harrowing, but it revealed something profound: the power of love, courage, and persistence. Emily emerged stronger, braver, and more resilient than ever. I too discovered an inner strength I hadn't fully recognized before: willingness to face danger head-on to protect the most precious person in my life. While the memory of that terrifying day would never fully fade, it became a testament to our resilience and our bond. We had survived a nightmare, and through it we learned that courage, vigilance, and unwavering love are forces that no threat, no matter how unexpected or dangerous, can ever break.